Next Legacy.
Hi, this is the artist Larron Wilson. You are now tuned into Danaya Azure Radio.
Good afternoon, Larron. How are you?
I am very, very good. I can't complain. Nobody want to hear nobody. How you doing?
I am good. I am good. So, yes, I met Larron on Clubhouse. That's my girl, Poker Blue. Doing some amazing things. So, tell everyone, how did you originally get into music?
I've always been around it. Like I went to school with a lot of people. I'm like what you call a late bloomer.
Mm-hmm.
So, I went to school with Ice Cube, Sir Jester, the DJ that's related to Dr. Dre.
Oh, nice.
I went to school with Yo-Yo. I went to school with her. I went with Candyman, Natasha Rhymes singing on Bone Thugs and Harmony album. So I've always been around it. I've always had people in my life, that's done music. But at the age of 2, I knew this is what I wanted to get into.
Okay. At the age of 2, you knew? How?
I was singing at a store that was similar to a Walmart called Zodi's, and I was with my mom at the time.
Okay.
And I was singing an Elvis Presley song, You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog. And somebody gave me some money. And when they gave me some money, I said, Mama, this is what I want to do.
I love it. You're like, oh, we get money for this? Let's do it. Let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go. That's awesome. So how old were you when you wrote your first song?
I was 12 years old when I actually first wrote my first love song.
What was it about?
Love is a commitment, not a feeling.
At 12 years old.
At 12 years old.
I love it. I love it. So who would you say have been your major musical influences?
I mean, without further ado, got to say Michael Jackson, Marvin Gaye. And for group-wise, to be ready for the world, Truth, Babyface is definitely, that's definitely, that's the go-to right there.
Yes, but Babyface has definitely done so many records, and he has helped so many careers. It's not even funny.
Yes, he has. Yes, he has.
And just a lot of timeless music. I think that's what people don't understand. I think right now we have so many artists. But how many timeless records do we know?
Exactly.
Right.
They don't play music like they used to.
No, they don't. They don't. That's why I'm so blessed to be a part of Next Legacy, because we play everything. I do mean literally everything. You're never going to hear this, unless you're listening to what we talk about Next Legacy Honors, where we have music from the same artist for 2 hours straight. Then you might hear the same record maybe once, possibly twice. But other than that, you're never going to hear the same record twice in a day. Listen to Next Legacy. And we have music 24/7, 365.
That's good, though. That's a lot of exposure.
Exactly. And we mix our music with independent and mainstream artists as well. So, especially on Danaya Azure Radio.
That's a blessing in itself, because you've given independent artists a voice that they normally wouldn't have unless somebody in your position was actually helping.
Absolutely. And singer-songwriter Larron Wilson is my guest here on Danaya Azure Radio. So, what would you say have been some of your challenges when it's come to being in this business?
I mean, I used to have people tell me that I can't sing. I've had people tell me that I can't rap. I've had people tell me that I'm not a good singer until they tell me I am. I'm not a good writer until they tell me I am. And I went through, a lot of ups and downs with paying money. You fresh in the game. They know you fresh. They know you went behind the ears. They're going to try to take advantage of you. And that's just how the game goes.
Yes. So let's talk about that real quick. When it comes to paying to perform, be very, 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 very careful about those quote unquote opportunities, right? I think the problem is that a lot of promoters want to just utilize that, like he said, for younger artists, or for artists who are, especially artists who are independent. They're like, oh, you gotta be on the showcase, and you gotta sell this many tickets, and yada yada yada. But you're essentially paying for your slot, and it's like, but if we're not performing in front of a huge audience if it's not a major celebrity guaranteed, not just saying it because you want the money. Why am I paying you? It should be the other way around. You should be paying me because you're using my talents to get out here. So
that's why I wouldn't advise, any artist to really, it's plenty of legit things that you can be doing.
Yes.
As far as an artist. But see, I'm like from back in the day, when you used to do a talent show, and they you don't win that first one, and you come back, you win the next one. But to me, I feel like you exploiting my talent because one, you're not paying me, but at least I'm getting something out of it. I'm getting a trophy. I'm getting some type of fan base, some type of recognition. But you got places now with platforms, they want you to pay this money, and they want to listen to you, but it don't go no further than that. They got the money. And you didn't do anything. You didn't excel in your career or nothing.
Right. That part.
And even as an independent, you got to watch out for the solicitation of the fake labels. Because as soon as they see you making noise on Instagram, any social media platform, here come the fake label offer. I fell for one before because they had their stuff so knit tight. Anybody would have fell for it. I mean, they had delivery service. They had an attorney that I was supposed to be talking to that sent me a passport paperwork for me to get my passport done. Oh yeah, they were going to send me the COVID test, two COVID test boxes and shirts and hats from the labels and a check for $15,000. I paid $600 out of pocket for me to pay for the expedition of my passport.
Right.
But once I started investigating stuff, because I'm good friends with Easy's first cousin, and she stays out here, and I showed her the contracts and whatnot that they sent me like a copy of. They said they're not the original ones yet or whatever. It's just the draft, but they just showing me what it looked like. Once I looked it over, and I just started seeing discrepancies and stuff like that, I was like, you know what? Something ain't right about this. So then I looked up the real person in California that was the real attorney with his face popped up. You know what I mean? Because they had everything. They had the attorney. Look, I'm talking to the A&R by phone that was keeping in contact with me on a daily basis. They were setting up a picture, everything. They sent me the itinerary for the plane. These were some true to life scam artists.
Wow. They had a whole squad working.
I'm gonna tell you how fast they hit that button when I sent them that copy of that the picture of the FBI report that I filed in the cyber.
Right. That part
right there.
And that's the thing. You have to be very, very careful when it comes to people that are on the internet. Do your research, please.
I agree.
A major celebrity is never gonna come in your DMs talking about some pay me $10,000 so I can do this verse for you. It's not going to happen.
Exactly.
If it's a situation where you are working with a major celeb, someone from their team will reach out to you, typically through email. You will have all the proof and all of that. You will speak to several different people. And they will give you the tracks that you can, and you have an agreement and all of that. But it's never going to be like, yo, hey, send me this and I'll lay this verse for you. It's not like that. It's way more complicated than that. Trust and believe. I've seen it. So that's why I know it's way more complicated. There's so much paperwork involved, child. Look. There's so much paperwork involved because what if that song hits? And when you have a major celebrity, usually it does hit very well. It might not go to the top, but it definitely does hit. And so you have to have the paperwork in order because if you go viral, what are you going to do?
That's true. I agree.
Everything has to be in order, for sure. And singer-songwriter, lyricist, Larron Wilson is my guest here on Danaya Azure Radio. So how did you originally get connected to polka?
I actually I met a guy named King who was doing a live on IG. And so he invited me to come to the clubhouse. They have a little thing where they got artists that come in, they listen to artists. He's looking to sign some artists. He's an A&R. So he's looking to sign some artists. So he invited me he liked what he heard, and I've been there ever since. And that's how I met Focus. And she's fabulous. She knows what she's talking about. Like
Yes,
that's the queen right there. That is the queen because she knows about everything under the sun. And I mean, I love her mind. You know, she's so freaking wise. I love her mind.
definitely, no question. I think when it comes to Clubhouse, though, there's so many opportunities that are there if you're in the right rooms.
That's
You have to
true.
be very careful of where you go. And this is anywhere on the internet, but especially I see on Clubhouse because it can be a celebrity room, but that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to be the right room. Because at first,
That's
when
true.
the app first came on, the celebs were in there just to kind of kick it and not
Hmm.
understand that they couldn't put all of their business out on the internet and not get recorded. I was like, you do know you're being recorded, right? This is not the time to chill and relax and get drunk online. Not a good idea. Yeah, they found out. They found out this is not the time to come
Yeah.
on when you're wasted and spill out your business.
Hmm.
It's not that app. I don't know why I thought that
Exactly.
was that app, but it's not
Yeah.
that app. Lord have mercy.
They found out the hard way.
Really, they really did. It was crazy. I'm just like listening. I'm like, does your PR know you're on here now?
Wow.
Yeah,
Mm-mm.
it was because they would come on and just be so ratchet. And I'm just like, this isn't a private app. What are y'all doing?
Exactly. That's the first thing you see that it said is recording.
It
That's the
was
first thing you notice.
when it first started, it wasn't recording. It
Yeah.
wasn't supposed to be recording, but you knew that it's a brand new. Now let's just be very clear. Whenever you are on any kind of program, beta program especially, they're going to be some kind of recording because they're testing it. They're trying to figure out how
Yeah.
it works. How else are they going
Hmm.
to be able to listen and find out what's going on if they're not recording?
Work the bugs out. That's true.
Come on now,
That
let's
is
be
true.
honest. We just
That's
got
true.
access to our recordings, but they've been recording the entire time.
They just didn't tell you they were recording.
That part.
Yeah, because when I think about it, I did not see it say anything about it because I used to go in there before, and I would go to I forgot the name of this record label, but I used to go to them, and they had me play music, and they were interested in me before because I dropped a single called "Let Freedom Ring" when all of the police were abusing the black people.
Mm,
So I dropped a song called "Let Freedom Ring." I got nominated last year for the Intercontinental Music Award.
wow. Exactly. And I think
Yeah,
it's interesting. I love how he said that like it was in the past. Like it's
yeah,
still
yeah,
not happening.
yeah, yeah. But like I know. I mean, it's still happening. I mean, you just don't hear about it as much. They don't publicize it as much. But it was even happening before it was publicized.
That part there. And
It
that's the
never
thing people
changed.
don't understand is that we were having issues with the police before Rodney King. Y'all just
Exactly.
saw it then because it got recorded.
Exactly. Somebody just had that VHS that day. you
Well,
know?
actually, it got recorded on the police cam.
Mm-hmm.
They forgot it was on. Because I'm sure they didn't know. Because I was like, seriously, y'all just messed up all y'all jobs.
Yeah,
But
I
it
was
was
in
good
I
for
was
it to
in
come to
California.
light. That was the first time that we were able to actually see it and be
Mm-hmm.
like, hi, we told you, we're trying to tell you for
Exactly.
years that there's an issue. We don't just say, we're not happy with certain law enforcement for no reason.
Exactly. They thought somebody was just crying wolf, but I'm just glad that it's starting to come out more.
Yes,
People are starting to pull out their cameras more.
yes.
People are starting to use their voice more, and it's starting to be recognized. I mean, it's sad we still ain't got no law to protect black people, but that's another story. I'm gonna leave that one alone.
Look, that's a whole
I'm, that's a whole nother time.
that's a
We gotta
whole
talk
other
about that one on
conversation.
camera. We gotta talk about that one on camera because we trying to keep you on the air. If you keep doing what you're doing.
We've talked about that on air before, but that's a,
Yeah,
that's a whole other conversation.
there you
You
go.
know,
Huh? Mm.
I think the one thing that I will say when it comes to us and our music, I think the one thing that I will say is that we have to get back to the quality of music. because we're so worried about pushing out quantity that the quality has definitely declined. No question.
I agree.
We have to understand. We also have to understand how the internet works. When something is bad, you don't share it.
Exactly.
When you share it, you give it life.
Yep.
You make it go viral. When things that are bad go viral, it's your fault.
Exactly.
Because what people think is that they're pushing it out there. They're pushing it out there to say, "Oh, this is so bad. Y'all have to see how bad this is." Not understanding that you're giving this person who never should have ever gotten any kind of recognition or fame because you want your friends to see it. Come on now.
That's true. I mean, like you said, you give it life. Once you hit that share button, or you hit that like button, or you comment, you've made it relevant.
Yes.
You made it relevant. So and we got to watch what we make relevant. We got to think more before we do.
Think before you post. Please think before you post. Start posting positive things like that.
Exactly.
When you do something positive, like, comment, share, save. Boom. Easy.
Yeah.
It's simple. The same way you do with the negative stuff, do with the positive stuff. Watch how that goes. Watch how powerful we can become.
But like I know, when people do negative things, it's like complimenting a woman. You say she's pretty, she got beautiful hair, she got pretty eyes. Oh man, she got pretty feet. She ain't got no teeth in her mouth. What's the thing you gonna remember?
Right.
That's what I'm saying. There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. That's what you're gonna remember the negative thing. So you can put 10 positive things out there, and one negative thing is gonna cancel the whole thing.
Very true.
And that's sad.
It is. It's very
sad.
It's very sad.
And I gotta say this: the grandmothers gotta stop twerking. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
That's another story. I'm just saying. Grandmother gotta stop twerking.
Well, the reason that grandmothers are twerking because grandmothers are a lot younger than they used to be. That's the problem there. Like, I think there's so many kids that I knew when I was in high school that now have kids that are like 16, 17. And I'm not even 40 yet. You know what I'm saying? So, like, we have so many kids that were raising children. Now the grandmothers are like 40-something. It was just that cycle that just perpetuated. And hopefully we'll end with the last kid, because it's insane. It's like, how are you? Wait, what do you mean you got grandkids?
That's true.
That's true. So it's a different generation. I think
it definitely is.
The one thing that I will say is positive about this new generation is that they are not afraid to speak up. The younger kids are not afraid to speak up. They're not afraid to say something's wrong. So I do give them mad props for that, because I know when I was young, it took a long time for people to understand the power of the youth, the voice of youth.
That's true.
Because what happened was they wanted youth for everything. You used to buy this, used to go here, used to come out and support XYZ with no voice behind whatever program you're attempting to have them push.
Yeah.
Now the youth are able to spread their voices and make themselves heard. It's no longer a situation where you're being seen and not heard. And that is the one huge plus that I see when it comes to social media, because it's giving a lot of kids voices. And when these kids really understand their power for real, it's going to be beautiful. Because they don't quite get it yet, but they're getting there. And when they really get it, a lot of things are going to change.
I agree.
And the same thing comes with the power of the consumers. You truly do vote with your wallet. If you don't like something, don't share it. If you don't like something, you don't like a company, don't buy it.
Exactly.
If the company is not treating you right, don't buy it.
Yeah. Stop spending money in those places.
Like, I'm confused, and I don't care if I get that. Gucci, I don't know how many times they have to disrespect y'all about not buy that daggone product.
Yeah.
How many times? Like, really? Come on. They told you in so many words, we don't like you. We just want you to just buy our stuff. We don't like you though. Just buy our stuff. On how many occasions? We still go out there and scream their names. For what?
And people still buy it.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I don't understand. You got somebody that's coming up in the industry, whether they design shoes or whether they design clothes. You're not going to meet Michael Jordan unless you actually at the places that Michael Jordan happened to be in. It's a 99 million chance in the world that you may come across him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, here you got somebody that's up and coming that you've been knowing, whether they're your family or friends, but you want to support them, but you want them to support you every time you got something there. That's what I do not understand. That don't register with me.
I agree that that's the biggest problem that we have is that we're so quick to support anyone that we don't know.
Yeah.
But when it comes to people that we do know, we're like we have 10,000 questions and well, I'm not sure if I'm gonna wear that or whatever.
Yeah.
But
if it came from Jordan, it's different.
Right.
If it came from, somebody else, Tommy Hilfiger, it's different. But if I got a design that's just as good as them or even better, why not support my brand?
That part.
But people don't think like that.
Like I said, people are coming around. It's taking a minute, but they're coming around.
Yeah.
I mean, they've had to get screwed by those businesses multiple times beforehand, but they're finally coming around.
That's true.
I mean, that's one thing I can say about when it came to 2020, that dreaded year. Lord have mercy, I almost want to erase it from the entire calendar. Was that more businesses and more small African American businesses were actually able to survive beyond that, because people were like, well, wait, that company doesn't respect me. And they're showing me this in plain sight. And they're like, you know what? I'm just going to go and support the Black-owned business. Finally.
Exactly.
Even though I should have been doing that, before this. But, hey, great for... Thanks for coming to the party.
I mean, look at it like this. You're a late bloomer. They ought to just be happy that it happened in the first place.
Mm. Yeah. Definitely.
Everybody don't respond the same way at the same time. Everybody's different. Some people might take a little bit longer to fathom some things, and other people just jump right in. Other people be like, I don't know. I got burnt last time, so I don't know if I should support this situation. And you gotta be that way because there's so many scam artists out here. There's so many people that's doing things. You know what I mean? So you gotta be that way.
You absolutely. You have to be very, very cautious of what you do. Very, very cautious of what you support. Be very, very cautious of what you share. I keep telling y'all that, because how many times people share something out and like, oh, that's fake news. Now you didn't put fake news. Now the whole internet's in a tizzy because you thought you saw something, but that wasn't right.
I agree 100.
Most definitely. And songwriter, lyricist, and singer Larron Wilson is my guest here on Danaya Azure Radio. So, what's next for you?
I mean, speaking of shoes, I got some shoes called state shoes. I got shoes that represent every state. I got a pair for Chicago already, and I got a pair for California.
Hey.
And I got a pair for, I got you guys skyline inside the shoe tongue, and it matches the shoe box.
Nice. I love it. So when is your shoe line dropping?
I mean, they out now. You could just put my name in Google, put in Larron Wilson, spelled with an A, not an E. I'm just saying. People quick to call me Larron or Larson and add what they want to add to it. I'm just saying on that one too. But and also I dropped a single called Hip Hop. I just dropped that on August 24th.
So make sure that you guys follow him on Spotify and on Apple Music.
Put me in. I'm on all streaming services. But you can find me on, if you want to buy the single, and it's actually going to go to me. Go ahead and check out Bandcamp. You'll find me on there as well.
Awesome. He's on Bandcamp, y'all. Make sure you guys follow and support. He's doing some pretty dope things. And y'all know the holidays are coming up, so go ahead and check out his shoes. See what he's working with for sure.
As you know, I'm representing Startown. Trust and believe that one. I wear that one more than anything.
Hey, I love it. I love it. So when everything is said and done, what do you want your legacy to be?
I want, I'm the type of person, I'm a jack of all trades, a master of none, but I've always just wanted to be a writer for people, but I know I got to really put my name out there and put my stuff out there on the forefront for me to really get to where I really want to go. But I just want people to feel music again. I want people to be able to get that feeling that I got when I was growing up listening to the Temptations and Marvin Gaye and Michael Jackson, somebody that's going to really move the crowd and that's going to move you when you're going through some kind of situation. That's the kind of music I want to bring back.
I love it. I love it. Let's bring back that old school fun music that heals and brings people together. Most definitely.
Yeah.
Most definitely. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I truly, truly appreciate you.
Thank you for inviting me. I appreciate you as well.
And definitely come back when you have some new music and let's chat offline about that shoe line for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Alrighty. Have a good day. Take care.
You as well. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Next Legacy.